Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Good to see you all. Um, it's um, it's raining, but we're here, and we're going to have a lot of fun. I think with my good friend Christina Marin, who I met so many years ago, and who for 4 or 5 years I think came and joined us in person at Hostos, and then moved very far away
Very far away.
in Boston.
Yeah,
But now she moved to Arizona.
even farther away.
Yeah. So, but this is the first time she's able to do something with us since she's moved away. I'm very excited about that.
I feel like also we can, I think we're all learning that like we need to use this technology a lot more, even when things go back to normal. These are opportunities that maybe we've missed in the past and didn't think, hey, why don't we just get everyone on the screen? It's not my favorite, venue, but we can still continue the relationship. I hope we do.
Yes, I hope so too. So I'm gonna let her begin her presentation, which is something that I was very excited about, which is called Using the Four Agreements to Deal with Our Energy Vampires. So let me present Miss Christina Marin. Dr. Christina Marin, I apologize.
That's okay. But for me, right, working for 5 years on that PhD is important as a woman of color to really stress that I have a PhD, a doctorate in theater. And, this is the community college is the beginning of your education, and who knows where you can go from there, right? You can be Dr. Thompson or Dr. Osorio, Dr. Adioti, Dr. Uwango. So that's the first thing I want to do is I want to meet all of you, if that's okay. We have a small group, so it's not like 40 people have to introduce themselves. Can we have, I don't know, Jason, maybe you can facilitate who can go next, of who can introduce themselves. You can either unmute your camera and show us your beautiful face, or just unmute your mic.
So why don't we start with Leighton?
Hi, my name is Leighton. I'm on my second year at Hostos. I study business administration, and ever so often I enjoy the arts.
Ooh, I like that. That's excellent. Wonderful. Thank you, Leighton.
Thank you.
So that's a great format, right? What year are you in? What are you studying? And something interesting about yourself.
So I see Andre's next.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Hi.
My name's Andre. There I am.
Here you are.
I graduated from Hostos this year in the spring.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I go to Lehman now, freshman at Lehman. And my major is computer imaging.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm glad to be here.
Excellent.
Tiana?
Sorry. I'm literally just finishing eating my food.
Well, we'll let you get back to
I knew he was gonna call on me soon. I was like, I feel it. So I'm sorry. I'm just finishing the last chew.
No worries. We'll let you get back to it in a second. We just love to meet you.
Okay, I'm good. All right. So I'm Tiana. Hey, everybody. I'm actually a Hostos graduate as well, just like Andre. I graduated this past summer, and I'm a junior at John Jay, and my major is political science.
Excellent.
So
congratulations.
I've been in that school for a month, and fun fact is, in a month since I've been in that school, I've already changed my major. And it's a funny story only because in my whole entire lifetime of college life, I have changed my major a total of 6 times. So it was kind of funny. I changed my major literally a week after I had already been registered and enrolled for classes and was taking classes under another major. And then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Change. And then they're like, are you sure? Yeah, I'm positive.
You totally have that prerogative to just keep switching it up and keep changing.
Yeah, so it's never ending with me. We'll see where I end up though.
We'll see. Excellent. Thank you for joining us today.
Olu, you're next.
Hi everyone, my name is Folu and my major is digital design and animation. I'm in my second year, and a fun fact about me is I have also changed my major about 4 times, and I am about to change it again. I'm changing it again next year.
To what? Do you know?
Yes, Paulu, welcome to the club, girl.
Yeah, I'm changing to liberal arts.
Excellent. Excellent. Field is
Yeah.
wide open there.
Yeah,
So you're, did you say second year?
yes, second year.
Excellent. Excellent. Very nice. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Zena, you're up.
Hi everyone, my name is Zaina. My major is criminal justice. This is my last semester at Hostos, and I'm glad to be here.
Excellent.
And for now, Roxanne.
Hi everyone, my name is Roxanne and I'm an electrical engineering major at Hostos, and I'm glad to be here.
And how many years, is this your first year, second year, or?
Second year.
Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on a rainy Friday afternoon. I wish I could project the sunshine that we have here over to you. It is still 99 degrees, 100 degrees. I heard it was snowing in Minnesota today, so we won't get snow this year or next year or the following year. But my name is Dr. Christina Marin. As Jason said, we've been doing work together for quite a while. One of my favorite things out of my whole year was often going to Hostos and doing some workshops. One of the things about my workshops is they're always very interactive. Many times we don't ever sit down in our chairs. We're up, we're doing theater exercises. That's my background, is in applied theater and the use of theater activities to get us talking about topics that are important to us, are important to the community. When Jason put out a post on Facebook that said, can people do workshops virtually? I was like, I can do a workshop at Hostos again? Wait a minute, this is amazing. So I'm really excited to be here. I hope it shows. One of the things, so I have a PhD in theater. So I'm Dr. Christina Marin, and theater is something that's been in my world and my life since a very early age. So when I was 10 years old, and that's 10 years old, I lived in Queens. I grew up in New York, so I lived in Queens, and some neighborhood kids came to my house and they brought a book and a cassette tape. Does anyone know what a cassette tape is anymore, right? But they bought an audio tape and a book. And they said, hey, we took this book out of the library. It came with this music cassette. We want to do theater. Do you want to do it with us? I had no idea what that even meant, but I said, leave the book and the tape and I'll get back to you. Right? I was a 10-year-old who was literally saying, like, I'll have my people call your people. And so a couple of days later, they came back. I had read the book, listened to the music, and they said, so do you want to do theater with us? And I said, sure, I can do theater with you, except I'm the director and I'm playing the lead role. So immediately I, went into this world of theater as someone who wanted to be facilitating, wanted to be taking charge and telling people what to do. And it's not that I'm a bossy miss, fancy Nancy wanting to tell everyone what to do. It's that I like organizing people into, from chaos into control. So did someone just join us? Did Sandra just join us, I think? Hi, Sandra.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Sandra, can you tell me, this is Dr. Marin, can you tell me how long you've been at Hostos, or if you've just recently graduated, and your major, and something interesting about yourself?
I just graduated, and thanks. Something interested about me. Oh wow.
What did you study?
Liberal arts and science. Hello.
Hello, excellent, excellent. And something interesting about you.
I think I'm funny.
Excellent. Maybe we'll see a little bit of that
She
today.
is. I can attest to that.
Excellent, excellent. Well, congratulations on your graduation. Excellent. Okay, so for me, over the past few years, I worked at New York University when I finished my PhD, and then I went to Boston, where Jason already told you, but I was working at Emerson College, and I would come down to the Bronx every once in a while and say hi and have some fun. And now I'm in Arizona again, where I am, as you can see on the screen, the program director for theater and film at Phoenix College. I can honestly tell you that for like 11 to 12 years of my life, I worked at institutions of higher learning that were very elite, very private, that cost a lot of money, and I wasn't happy at all. And Jason can definitely attest to that because he saw a lot of those years. And the thing that really, I think the thing that convinced me to make the switch over to community college was the work that I was doing with Jason at Hostos. And so I'm very grateful because it led me on my true path of where I should be working, and that's in community colleges. And so over the past few years, I have taken the work that I do in theater and mainly theater education, and I've sort of been pulling from different other resources in my life. And this is quite literally, you are the test pilot of this work that I'm going to share with you. I've never done this workshop before. I've never shared the combination of these two things in my life with anyone before. I have shared it separately. I've shared the 4 agreements, and I believe that the 4 agreements are a great framework for teaching acting, actually, of all things. And I've shared energy vampires with, I'm one of the founders with 2 other women of a girls leadership camp for middle school girls up in New Hampshire, that this was supposed to be our 10th anniversary of running that camp. But of course we didn't meet this summer because of COVID. But energy vampires is something that they just got a lot out of. And I really wanted to sort of find this way for us to sort of lead one into the other. So does anyone have any questions at all about anything I've just shared? Excellent. If you can, if you haven't yet, please, because at some point during the workshop, we're going to need 3 writing utensils, or if you have 3 pieces of paper or 3 lip glosses in your room, or 3 poppable penguin toys like this one here, right? And I just shot it and I don't know where that ball went. You might have 3 masks, because Lord knows we are at no shortage for masks. Or you might have 3 headbands. You might have 3 pairs of glasses. Exactly. Anything that you could have 3 of. And so I'm gonna just get started. Okay, should we do that? Let me see if I have the ability to, nope, I have to go to this screen, I think, and go to the next slide. Great, okay, so has anyone ever read, is there a way for me to get the chat up? I'm wondering. Hold on, I think there is. I think I know exactly where I need to go. The chat. Oh, look, there's all this stuff in the chat that I haven't even seen. Wait, can I put it over here is the question. So, because I want to, and Jason, will you help me monitor the chat? I love it. Thank you, Tiana. You're like my TA. Keep everyone in line, Tiana. Make sure when.
No doubt, I got you. It's
excellent.
Because I knew other people would come in later, so they all.
I love it.
Right with.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so has anyone put it in the chat if you have actually been introduced to this book before, The 4 Agreements? Everyone's, no, 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 no. So, Tiana, your yes, girl, yes was not to have you read the book before, right? That was from before.
No, it was not. It was to yes, girl, yes, as into you being a woman of color who writes it and who's doing their thing out here. I'm all about women empowerment.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so here's the book. The cover is right here on the PowerPoint or the Google Slides, whatever this is called. So the Four Agreements is a book that's written by a man named Don Miguel Ruiz, and it is known as a Toltec wisdom book. Okay, and he was, and I'll explain this term Nahual, and really all it means is master. So there, I've explained it, from the Eagle Knight lineage. So that's sort of his tribe, if you will. And he's a master or a shaman from that lineage. And what the Four Agreements really is a way to live, right? You can see even that in my office, this is a copy of the Four Agreements. I live this, I'll say this because I'm not gonna be, right? I try to live this every day of my life. Do I sometimes falter? Of course I do. We all do, right? But these tenets have become so important to me because they've really helped me change how I see the world. And so at the bottom of this screen, you see it's a practical guide to personal freedom. How many people want personal freedom? Me. I want personal freedom. I want personal freedom, right? I want to be able to live the best life that I can. So let's just talk before we get into what the Four Agreements are, talk a little bit about who the Toltecs were, right? We say this is a Toltec book of wisdom. Well, hello, who are the Toltecs, right? Many of you have probably in either an anthropology class or a history class or some class maybe heard about the Mayans and the Aztecs, possibly the Incans. Before these civilizations, there were actually even other civilizations. So has anyone heard of the Toltecs? I want to make this as interactive as I possibly can because I'm used to being up on my feet and like talking, and you're currently learning about all of this. I love this, Tiana. So exciting. So these are not pictures that I took, but these are pictures of places that I've been. This is the sun and the moon pyramids in Teotihuacan in Mexico. So thousands of years ago, the Toltec were known throughout southern Mexico as women and men of knowledge, right? So these are scholars, basically. They were scientists, but also artists, right? So having both the left and right side of the brain really engaging. And they formed a society to explore and conserve the spiritual knowledge and the practices of the ancient ones. They came together as masters or nahuals. And so masters and students at Teotihuacan, this is sort of like if we look back to the Greeks and we say Socrates and Plato and Aristotle all came together, at the Acropolis. Well, here we have the same kind of minds working together, right? And so they come together in the city of Teotihuacan, right outside of Mexico City. And this is known as the place where man, and that's not man being a misogynistic, like just men, not women, that's the human race becomes God. Now, let me be very clear. I am not trying to convert you to a new religion. I am not trying to question any religion you have faith in, because that's not what this is. This is a very sort of special way of thinking. And I'll just go to the next screen because we talk a little bit about it. So Toltec knowledge arises from the same essential unity of truth as all of the esoteric traditions around the world. Now, I'm very, very, for me, one of the most important things is if I read something and I don't know what a word means, I make sure I have the ability to define it for myself. So esoteric means understood by or meant for only the select few who have special knowledge or interest, and belonging to the select few, private, secret, confidential, intended to be revealed only to the initiates of a certain group. That's esoteric. So esoteric traditions, right? The very nature of the fact that we have different religions that people believe in, right? The esoteric nature of them is that only some people believe in that, and only some people believe in this, and only some people believe in this, and only some people believe in this. I like to call this, in my brain, the Pepsi-Cola theory of religion, right? If there is an all-powerful someone in the universe, they're probably the best marketer and brander anywhere. So they make sure that there's ginger ale at the party, and Pepsi, and Diet Pepsi, and some kind of Sierra Mist, and some kind of grape soda, because everyone needs to find something that that's going to make them feel at ease with all the craziness in the world. And sometimes that's spirituality and religion, right? But not everyone is born in the same country. Not everyone speaks the same language. Not everyone adheres to the same faith or religion. I'm not here to convert you to anything. I'm here to talk about this idea that, based in the same essential unity of truth, not a religion, it honors all of the spiritual masters who have taught on the earth. So we're talking everyone from Muhammad to Jesus, to Moses, to who else? To the Buddha, to everyone who's ever spiritual. And we're talking about Martin Luther King, right? We're talking about the people in, we're talking about Baha'u'llah. We're talking about all of the spiritual leaders who have taught their tribes, their cultures, their congregations, how it is to live in the world. Because most religions, right, have similar messages of be good to people, right? Don't hurt people. Believe in something higher than yourself. Things like of that nature. So this, the Toltec knowledge really does respect all of the masters, the spiritual masters who've taught on the earth. While it does embrace spirit, it is most accurately described as a way of life, right? So this is a way to live, distinguished by the ready accessibility of happiness and love. Any questions? Right, so it's kind of a cool thing, right? I think it's a cool thing. Let me just see where we're going right now okay. Because I want to make sure there are any questions before we jump into what the four are. And the four sort of lead us into a conversation about each of these different agreements or principles. So be impeccable with your word. If you see a link, it's because I'm like, what does impeccable really mean? Oh, well, impeccable means faultless, flawless, irreproachable, not liable to sin, incapable of sin. So be someone who, when you speak, speaks truthfully, speaks honestly, speaks transparently. So be impeccable with your word. For me, this really means if I'm going to say something about Jason, I better be ready to say it to Jason's face. So I'm not going to come over here to Tiana and be like, so, there's this thing about Jason that I like, and he walks into the room and I'm like, oh, hi, Jason. Right? If I'm not willing to say it in front of his face, I should never let it leave my lips. Because why would I not be able to say it to him? This idea of speaking truth always and being transparent and ready to say something. Now, I'm going to share a story where this really happened in my life. And I was like, I'm either going to live this way or I'm going to live not this way. So I was at a conference with, I was still a graduate student. I wasn't a professor yet. So we're talking over 15 years ago. I was at ASU and we went to a conference and there were some graduate students in one of the hotel rooms, and we were talking about what sessions we were going to go to next. And someone mentioned the research of one of our colleagues who was also a graduate student. This was a white student, white, female, cisgendered female. And she was from a family that had a lot of money. And she chose to work in a very, she chose to work in an inner city school. And she wanted the students to really like her. And she always complained, like she didn't understand why they really didn't seem to be gelling with her. And and I said, well, my biggest thing, if I were a high school student at that school and this woman walked in and she was wearing those diamonds, I would feel very alienated and I would not see myself being in the same kind of grouping with her. And so it wouldn't feel like she was, working within my community for any kind of reason other than to get her PhD. And a lot of my friends were like, they looked at me like, oh my God, I never even thought of that. Like, that's really an interesting. And then all of a sudden she walked in the room because she had been at a meeting that wasn't the right meeting. And so she left and she came upstairs and she walked in and everyone sort of like was very, oh, great, Tiana, yes, agreeing with that. Being like, you have to feel like people are in the room with you and they're there to work with you, right? Not to be someone who is there for charity because they can be, right? If you're not there for the work, then, so she walked in the room and everyone's jaw dropped and thought, Christina's going to shut up. Christina's not going to say anything. But of course, this person said, what are y'all talking about? And it was a split-second decision, but I turned and I said, you. And everyone was like, oh my goodness, she's going to go there. And we had this conversation and she was taken aback by this, I said, do you really think that that's something that is appropriate? Could you maybe not, and she said, I'm not going to not wear my wedding rings when I go in. And I said, no, but could you maybe turn them inside so that it just looks like a wedding band instead of having these huge 4 diamonds on your hand? And she thought about it and she was like, do you really think that that's why? And I said, you need to believe that if you change your the way that you walk in there, that the work will be for all of you and not that you're going to change what you wear for appearance only. Several weeks later, I was sitting in some restaurant like a Panera or something like that, and she walked in and she had the cutest outfit. She was wearing like pigtails and a bandana, and she looked so adorable. And she almost looked like a teenager almost. And I was like, oh, hey, yeah. She said, I just came from the high school. And I said, wow. And she said, Christina, you've no idea how well the work is going because all of the pretense of what I wear inside, all of it's gone. And now we're doing the work and it's getting so much better, right? When the moment where I was honest and I didn't hide and say like, I'm just doing chisme or gossip with my friends, but I'm willing to say it to that person's face, it liberated me. It freed me to say, I'm not someone who's going to talk behind people's back, right? So this next slide is an explanation of what does it mean to be impeccable with your word? Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using any of your words to speak against yourself even, or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. you'll see, so I want you to keep in mind this idea of being impeccable with your word later when we start talking about, yes, Tiana, thank you, right? Not only did I help working with the students, working with the teacher, and I helped myself, but it was also a really great result for the research that happened within that population and for myself. So thank you, Tiana, I appreciate that. So we're going to think about being impeccable with our word to deal with energy vampires, because ain't nobody going to tell us, right, that we have to, you'll see what an energy vampire is. All right. Anyone have any experiences with either, and here's one of the hardest things to do, is to be honest about a moment where you maybe were not impeccable with your word, and you realize now that had you been, you may have avoided a situation, right? Does anyone want to share anything that they've experienced? I can continue. At any point, oh, okay, yeah, at any point, someone can say like, hey, can we go back to being impeccable with the word? Because I just thought of a story, right? So we have these 4 agreements. We're only on number 1. Okay. The next agreement that Don Miguel Ruiz shared with, so I'm going to back up real quick. The 4.
Sorry, quick question, Christina.
Yeah.
Did you say, was it a moment where we were impeccable or where we weren't?
It can be either.
Impeccable.
It can be
Okay.
either. Right. The harder ones, yeah, the harder ones to admit to people is like, this is a time where I put my foot in my mouth and I really shouldn't have, or I spoke like negatively about someone and then I was like false to their face, or, you know, all of these things. You can share that, like, there was this one time, exactly like what I said, I was impeccable with my word. I shared that truth. And, you know, it was a process of getting through it. But in the end, we had this great experience all around, I think. So either way, like if you've been impeccable and you have an example of it, or if there was a time where you weren't, and now you realize you could have responded differently in that moment.
Can I share a story?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Share who it is.
Oh, this is Tiana.
Okay.
And the story I'm gonna share is one of like it's related to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to work in a restaurant called Pret a Manger, and I was pretty frustrated with the team leader who was there, and like the team leader, essentially they're supposed to be looking over the rest of their staff, because that's why you're the team leader. You're supposed to lead the team. You're supposed to make sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're in their positions. They go on their break when they need to, so on and so forth. And if they need to be trained, you train them as well. I was like a little frustrated with the team leaders, I guess, not being clear in terms of like training new employees or current employees that wanted to move up into another position, but needed to complete a certain amount of training hours before they could get promoted. And it became like very messy. And I one day was in the coffee room in the back room, and I was talking about my manager, or so to say, my team leader, behind their back. And I was doing it to about 4 individuals who were also, and they were in different positions. There was only there was 2 individuals that were on the same level that I'm at. And then there were 2 individuals who are technically above me. Like I have to respond to them. And I'm talking to my superiors about one of our higher ups who's above all of us. And it, you know, that definitely doesn't look good, because you're speaking about someone who is your higher up, who you have to respond to, and you're kind of, you know, back talking about them to other individuals on the job. And it's not like they're your friends. They can go right up to that person and be like, hey, well, Tiana was over there in the coffee room talking about you. She had this, this, and this to say about you. So there was that moment. And long story short, the incident did lead to coming out of that coffee room. So the team leader did find out what I said. And then when I was approached about the situation, I said, yes, I did say that. And this is why I said it, because I feel like now the job has gotten messy. I was like, things aren't organized. We're not attending customers the way that we should be. And I was like, and we're not refilling the coffee urns when they need to be. And it's because people still need to go through training and they don't know what they're doing. And the team leader, essentially, like, their job technically is not to train people. They only train people if they have to. So because there is a shop supervisor who is the trainer for the store, but we just didn't have one at the moment because the person that we had got promoted and they went to another shop. So the end result was we had a meeting with the manager, and this was expressed as well in the meeting. The manager found out what happened and what I was doing in the coffee room. And it was bad because I didn't choose to handle the situation in the best way, in terms of like approaching the team leader first and maybe coming to her and being like, hey, you know, I noticed that, you know, you haven't done this, or is there a way we could, you know, do something else, or whatever the case may be. But we then had that conversation in the office with the manager.
Result of the conversation, but you know, what you're recognizing in telling this story is that you could have handled the situation differently. You could have gone directly to the team leader, or the conversation that you had in the coffee room or the back room could have been, hey, I'm concerned about some things. How do you all think I should address it with the team leader? Are you having the same frustrations? Right. So that conversation didn't have to be gossipy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more productive, right?
Exactly. And it didn't become more productive until we sat down with the manager. And then that's when we got down to the bottom of it. And it was like the team leader had expressed like, look, I'm not getting paid to do a job that is not within my job description. And you guys need to find someone to replace this position because that's not what I'm getting paid to do. She's like, I'm not a supervisor. I'm above a supervisor. A supervisor responds to me. So she was playing the role of two people and getting exhausted. And what happened was the manager saw how, I guess, passionate I was about it. And also she had been observing me for a while, that they promoted me to that position. So at the end of that meeting, I got a promotion, a raise, and they were like, you're going to start training for your new job. You'll be the shop trainer for everyone and be in charge of like, but then they're like, Tiana, you're going to have to understand now that you're on the other side of the fence of this. And they're like, you cannot do what you did to your colleague, because imagine if someone does that to you.
So part of that becomes the way that you train new employees.
Exactly.
Right? That's really exciting. Jason, how great would that have been for a forum theater workshop, right? That whole story right there is like doing the forum theater.
Oh, well.
That is fantastic. Tiana, thank you so much for sharing that story, because it really does, it shows like what the potential was, but it also shows, you know, the negative outcome that was the step along the way to the positive outcome. Right. And I'll tell you, like, once we go into the whole idea about energy vampires, you will realize how many different people in that story played energy vampires for different people. Definitely. Definitely. Excellent. Okay. Anyone else have a story they want to share? Yeah. Are you still at that same job, Tiana?
Oh God, no, definitely no. Got the hell out of there.
I'm just congratulating you on your promotion.
Well, I guess I'm taking back my congratulations. That's fine.
I'm sorry, Sandra. Yeah, this was years ago. This was like years ago. Honestly, it ended badly. It ended with me walking out of there with a $20,000 settlement. Yeah.
Wow.
That's how it ended up bad, that it had to like get to that point. So it's just it actually wasn't positive.
And if the other agreements that we see are going to take role in that story, it might be the continuing saga. What was the name of type into the chat the name of the restaurant?
Oh yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not that they have bad practices as a company, but unfortunately, the location that I was in, the manager abused their power and their authority, and there was just a lot of indiscrepancies that were happening that should have never happened.
Wow.
And it was actually one of the most scandalous stories. I think today, if you still look it up, it might be on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really not great. It's pretty much me just getting beat up on camera. So it's and it was like, and I couldn't do anything about it because these were like customers who were in the store who recorded this all on their phone. So like once it was posted to YouTube, like that was it. And I was like, I can't do anything. I was like, and that's pretty much how I won my court case because of all the videos that were online. And I was like, and because it wasn't posted by me specifically, even more reason. I was like, there were thousands of people in there. This is a public like restaurant. Anyone could walk in there and see what was happening. It was outrageous.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. That's not fun.
It was the first and the only time in my life, but yeah, definitely an experience I do not ever want to relive.
Yeah, right? Okay. Let's move to agreement number 2 from Don Miguel Ruiz. One of the things that I had said before I was going to back up to was a lot of these 4 agreements. There's actually a 5th agreement. We're not going to talk about that in this workshop, but there's another book that he published with his son. And the agreements were sort of, I would say, suppressed and hidden for many years because there was, I don't know, a conquest, shall we say, of this part of the world where, right, a lot of what indigenous peoples practiced or believed was sort of hidden away so that people wouldn't be hurt any more than they already were, right? The conquest of, Europeans into the lands of indigenous peoples in the Americas. And so a lot of these things were like, suppressed. And then when Don Miguel Ruiz thought, it's time for people to be able to live their best lives, I'm going to publish these books as a master from the Eagle Knight lineage and share the work that's been passed down generationally in smaller groups. So that's, why we haven't been hearing about the 4 agreements for, we hear about different spiritual practices or books, and this, people might be like, I've never heard of this before. But he really decided that it was time. So this next principle, the agreement, never take anything personally. And I know you're probably saying to me like, everything is personal. Sure, it is, right? But when you take it personally and you believe that everything is happening to you, right? Anyone who thinks that this pandemic is happening in a direct result to them, it's happening to the world. It's happening to the globe. It's happening to so many people. Now it's affecting people differently, right? Some people have lost family members. Some people are dealing with a lot of grief, but this pandemic was not orchestrated against any one person. So that's an example of don't take anything personally. It's not about you. And so here's the explanation of never take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. I know that sounds like, yeah, some people do. Some people go and they do things for me or to me, but really what others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream, the world they live in. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. What does that mean to anyone, right? It's just, so don't take things personally. What does it mean to you? Do you think that it's possible? Do you think that it's impossible to not take things personally? And why, if anyone wants to share with us?
Hi, I'm Sandra. I don't think like the other day, recently I've learned that people that bully people, they're people that's they have their own problem that they're dealing with. So now, because they have so many anger, now they're trying to take that same anger on somebody else. So sometimes it's not because you did something to them.
It's because of the world that they live in. It's because of things that are happening to them.
Exactly. So now they're just oh, they're giving it out to you. And I used to take things personal, but I realized that I shouldn't take things personal because sometimes it's not even my fault.
And sometimes when we take things personally, right, they start to eat away at us, at our heart, our soul, our mind, and we let them, right, this is a root of a lot of anxiety that people experience.
Yeah, because of
Anxiety
that.
is about thinking what everyone else is going to think about me. And I think I came to a point in my life where I just couldn't live that way anymore. I couldn't. When I read this for the first time, I thought to myself, I don't need someone to approve of me. I need to approve of myself, right? And if someone else is going to say something, right? If someone else is not going to be impeccable with their word, and I'm going to be the recipient or the victim of that, I can either choose to let them get to me, or I can choose to walk away or confront that person and deal with the idea like, I'm not going to let you treat me like this. One of the things about the Energy Vampire book that we'll talk about is you in life get to teach others how they get to treat you. No one gets to treat you the way you don't want to be treated. And if you decide to walk in the world that way, life will change for you. You will feel liberated in the idea of, you know what, this may have been my best friend since I was 7 years old, but no one talks to me like that. So, friend, are you going to continue to talk to me like that? Yeah? Okay. Bye, Felicia. I don't need you in my life. Not if I'm going to be caused pain because somehow, and this is, my husband says this phrase, and I love it. Why do you have to burn out my candles so yours can burn brighter?
That OMG, I'm so sorry for cutting you off, but
oh no.
I have cut so many people off because of that. You know, like it's like, you know how when you just have someone, they never speak positive, it's always negative, and you're like, hold up, wait a minute, why do I have to always have, why do I have to have you around? Because you're not helping me.
You're not helping.
And it's like you trying to climb a hole, and then you end the hole, you coming out, and this person saying that I'm helping you get out, but instead they're just pushing you down. And I'm like, okay, bye, I don't need you in my life.
That's
I've
right.
cut family off, friends, like it's not, we're not doing that.
That is so true.
Yeah, people just sometimes they don't want to see you grow, and you don't realize that because you're so blind by their hypocrisy, and you just like, okay, that's my friend. No, that's not your friend. Like, think, look at them, look how they treating you, and stop. Like, I've like another thing I stopped doing. I used to like try to help people and not help myself, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's like I'm not going anywhere, and then I'm pushing them, they're going everywhere, and you just hear you holding yourself down. And because the only person that can stop you from growing is you. So you know what, let me work on myself first, then I'll come back and help you get out the hole. This is my concept now.
Sandra, I think you and I need to like travel the world and do this workshop.
Right?
Me, you, Tiana, me, you, we're just gonna, take it on the road, because
thank you.
It's important for us to realize all of this. And you've already like opened a door to someplace we'll be going in this workshop. It's so important, right? Sometimes, have you ever heard of the expression of, it's like crabs trying to get out of a bucket? Think about this image, right? You put a bunch of crabs into a bucket because you're going to eat them. That's not the good part, right? But it kind of is. But the crabs all try and get out of that bucket. But the only thing they have to step on to get out of the bucket, there's no ladder, right? They have to step on each other. They have to step on each other. So it's like these crabs, and it's like pushing someone else down to get above that person. And that is not okay, right? And now part of this is, it's not really about you just letting everyone in your life go, right? We live very lonely lives.
Yeah.
We had to say to everyone, peace out, because you don't get to be in my sandbox. But the question of whether or not we can say to people, look, I don't want to take this personally, but the way that you are treating me is this. And hopefully that can help that person recognize, oh, I wasn't even meaning to treat you like that. Really, I think what it is it's about me. And maybe the conversation that you begin can help that friend, and you don't have to lose a friend, but you have to be able to defend yourself and not let energy vampires really take advantage of you. Excellent. Sandra, thank you so much, because that really solidifies this idea of you have to be ready to either walk away or have that conversation. Okay. Any other questions or stories about not taking anything personally? You're all like, what's next? What's next? What's next? Number 3. Let's take the curtain away from number 3. This is one of the hardest things in the world for anyone to do. Don't make assumptions. Now, some of you may know the old saying, right? Why shouldn't you assume? When you assume, and the word is ASSUME, woo, Leighton, on the ball with the money. Excellent. You make an ass out of you and me. Oops. Do I have to get beeped? Right? But that's the issue. If you assume, right? I assume that, you know, let's say, here's the thing. Let's say I assumed when I saw Jason's Facebook post that Jason would want me to do this workshop. And I'm like, oh, you know, I instead of assuming, I said, you know, I'd really like to, if you have room in your schedule, right? I wasn't like, hey, put me down for October 16th because, you know, that's when I can do this. I didn't want to assume. I want to make sure that I have all of the information to be able to say, Jason, I'd like to do this if you'd like to have me, right? And so Jason was like, that would be great. Let me check the schedule. What are you interested in presenting? Because it's also not just like about Jason being like, oh, I assume Christina's workshop is going to be great because Christina's great, right? It's what do you want to talk to my students about? Because you don't get to just come in here and assume, right? So all of it's like not making assumptions. The world would be a better place if people just didn't make assumptions, right? And this goes back to sort of that whole idea. How many of you have ever sent a text to a friend and not included like the laughing teary-eyed emoji or the LOL or LMAO, and then your friend stops texting you for like 2 weeks? And you're like, what? Did I just lose a friend? What the hell just happened? Like what? And then you text your friend and I'm like, are you still talking to me? And the friend's like, well, this is what you sent to me 2 weeks ago. How dare you? And you're like, oh, I forgot the LOL. I was totally kidding, right? But you made an assumption that your friend would know the LOL. Your friend made an assumption that you were being serious, and 2 weeks of our lives is now wasted. How would we, you know, how would either of us know unless we don't make the assumption and open our mouths and talk about it? So let's talk about what this looks like of don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and express what you really want. Communication is key. It is the key. Here's one of the things that I say to my students, because I am a professor who, if you email me before an assignment is due and you are honest and you say, I have a math test that day, I have a poli-sci paper that I have to write, and I also have your assignment of the playwright biography. Would you be willing to give me an extension so that I can keep track? And, you know, I don't know that your professors also have an assignment on the same day. You can't assume that I keep track of everyone's schedules. That would be absolutely impossible. So by not assuming A, that you're just gonna get a bad grade if you don't turn it in on time, right? Ask the question, express what you really want. Don't make assumptions. And I say to my students in my syllabus, if you email me before this is due, anything, there is a very good chance, and most likely, I will give you an extension. If you email me the day after that assignment is due, that assignment will automatically have 10% of the grade taken away, because you have to learn the communication before the deadline is what's important. It's not about sort of cleaning up the mess that you've made. It's about being proactive, adulting, being the person in life who is going to be the communicator, and be upfront, be impeccable with your word, right? And communicate with others, right? Back to the presentation, communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. Now, Jason's gonna be like, Christina, you want to avoid drama? Your whole life is about drama. I know, but the drama that's like the drama that Tiana had to go through. We don't want that kind of drama, right? We want drama on stage, not excellent, Orlando, right? We want drama to be in the theater. We do not want drama in our lives. With just this one agreement, don't make assumptions, you can completely transform your life. And sometimes, right, when you're changing over to this way of living, it takes a little bit, right? Making assumptions. How many of you have ever like had someone, you're like asking a question to follow up and that person was like, I totally thought I emailed you that. In my head, I responded to what you asked and I hit send. And now that I go back into my email, I'm like, yeah, I thought about it, but I didn't actually do it, right? It's all about, not making assumptions that the person, like, oh, I don't feel well. My friend's gonna know that. So I'm just gonna not call to cancel the plans we had. They'll know that I'm sick. I'm so sick right now. I'm like coughing up a lung and blah, blah, blah. How the hell is your friend gonna know? Unless you communicate as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings. Y'all didn't know you were coming to a comedy show, did you? Right? If Don Miguel Ruiz knew how funny the 4 agreements were, or could be. Oh, we've got Rokia in the waiting room. I love this. I'm letting people in. It's so great. I feel such authority. All right, are we ready for number 4? Does anyone want to talk about a time where they made an assumption that really made a you-know-what out of you and you-know-who?
Here I am expressing and then my whole mic was mute.
You gotta rewind.
Wow, so hard. Oh my God.
Sandra told 2 stories in the time I was talking.
Right? I'm like, wait a minute. Hey, he's not even answering me. I'm like, oh, never mind. I'm mute. Yeah, I was saying that.
This whole thing in my head. Oh my God, you too funny, girl. You see, Christina, you thought she wasn't funny. You doubted her. You see, she showed you in this session she's funny.
Yeah, I can. I remember one time, and I think my friend, she was like, oh, she told me she was downtown, and I was at school. After class, I just went home. And she was like, oh, well, I told you I wasn't downtown. I assumed that you were coming because I told you. I'm like, sis, you told me you were in downtown, yeah, but I was in class. Now, if you had told me, let's meet up, now we would have just met. So it's like, to me, sometimes it's lack of communication.
Clarity.
Yeah, exactly. Because yeah, you told me you were there, but how was I supposed to know we were supposed to meet up?
That is the best story. I love it. I love that. I often tell a story about when my husband and I met. I was applying for my job at NYU, and so I was writing the paper that I was going to give at my job talk. And he called me. We were dating still. This is 15 years ago. And he says, what are you doing? And I said, I'm writing a paper. And he said, oh, okay. I'm in the mood for fettuccine Alfredo. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know where to go with that information. I need some clarification. Because I assume that you are asking me if I want to eat, but I shouldn't assume anything, right? You could have a segue like, are you hungry? Because I'm in the mood for fettuccine Alfredo. Or have you eaten dinner yet? Because I'm in the mood for fettuccine Alfredo. Or do you like Italian food? Because, right, like there's so many different things. For clarification, when you just say, I'm downtown.
Nah, me, if I were you, I would have just told him like, well, why don't you get some to eat?
Right? I wanted to say to him like, well, there's Olive Garden, there's Fazoli's, you can, but he ended up making me fettuccine Alfredo from scratch that night. And now he's my husband.
Oh, okay. But still, I would have still told him, go get some.
Right? So this idea of communicating, not making assumptions, making sure that you are clear with what you mean and what you need, or asking someone for clarification about what they've said, right? That really sounds a little off. Can we talk? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, now I get what you're saying. Oh, is that what you mean? Okay, I get it. But if you hadn't asked, then you wouldn't know, and you'd let it stew in your mind like, oh, this is what that person meant. Well, was it really? Or did you not hear one or two words and that made you think the exact opposite of what they meant? Right? Any other examples? I feel really weird. I'm looking at myself in this camera and I have this like lipstick on, and I haven't like had lipstick on for so long because of this, right? Like, and I'm like tasting my lip. I'm like, oh, I have chapped lips. Well, that's because of, okay. Number 4, are we ready? Are we ready? Drum roll, please. And this one I think is hopefully the simplest one and the one that we can all take ownership of immediately if we haven't already. Always do your best, right? Do we always do our best? Sometimes not so much.
No, I always like to do my best. At least I know I tried it and it didn't work out, instead of just knowing that I didn't do nothing.
Right. We're going to hear from a very important woman who's going to tell us a parable, but your best is going to change from moment to moment. You can't always think that your best is going to be like the end all be all, because it'll be different when you're healthy as opposed to when you're sick, you're not feeling well. Your best is going to be, not as good. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Okay. When I was teaching at Emerson, I found the words of a very important woman from Kenya, Wangari Maathai, and I'm going to share with you Wangari Maathai telling the story of the hummingbird. Okay, let's do a quick test to make sure. Oh, wait, where are you going? No, come back here. I want to make sure you can all hear it.
If you were sexually abused as a child,
this is not it.
You're not alone. I'm attorney Robert Pastor.
And I'm Jeff Anderson.
I'm sorry. We're going to skip you. Did you hear any of that? Oh, good. So that's good.
Yes.
We are constantly being bombarded by problems that we face, and sometimes we can get completely overwhelmed. The story of the hummingbird is about this huge forest being consumed by a fire. All the animals in the forest come up and they are transfixed as they watch the forest burning. and they feel very overwhelmed, very powerless, except this little hummingbird. It says, I'm going to do something about the fire. So it flies to the nearest stream, takes a drop of water, and puts it on the fire and goes up and down, up and down, up and down as fast as it can. In the meantime, all the other animals, much bigger animals like the elephant with a big trunk, could bring much more water. They are standing there helpless, and they are saying to the hummingbird, what do you think you can do? You're too little. This fire is too big. Your wings are too little. And you're big, so small. You can only bring a small drop of water at a time. But as they continue to discourage it, it turns to them without wasting any time and tells them, I'm doing the best I can. And that to me is what all of us should do. We should always feel like a hummingbird. I may feel insignificant, but I certainly don't want to be like the animals watching as the planet goes down the drain. I will be a hummingbird. I will do the best I can.
No, we have to stop that. Sorry, I just was playing the next thing. So what are your thoughts about this idea of always just doing the best that you can?
No matter how hard, like, always try. Even if you feel like you can't anymore, even if you feel like you want to give up, even if you feel like things aren't going the way you planned for them to, or it's just not how you envisioned it, I took it as don't give up. Keep trying, keep doing, because all you can do is do your best.
All you can do is what you can contribute and what you can contribute in that moment, right? You cannot solve the world's problems, but you can contribute to, right? This whole movement about voting, right? There's so many people who are like, my vote is not going to count. It doesn't matter. Well, your vote is the best that you can sometimes. And there are a lot of people who do not have the right to vote for whatever reason. And we need to represent all of those people that we believe deserve a voice, right? Always doing your best. And sometimes there's an exhaustion involved with that. Maybe some other people are like, oh, you don't always have to be the one to, but you need to do, you need to contribute, you need to, my husband often says to me, you're creating a new syllabus for that course. Haven't you taught that course like 7 times? And I'm like, yeah, but these are new students. It is now 7 years later. Different people have written new plays that they've added to.
Christina, we lost you. What happened?
What happened?
Where's her audio?
Uh-oh, wait, hold on.
I can hear her.
Does anyone else?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, thank goodness. So the idea that, no, wait, where was I going? Oh, like doing my best meant not just relying on the old syllabus from 7 years ago, right? 7 years have passed and more people have written plays and I have to add them to my syllabus because they're new and my students deserve to have the best that I can do, right? It's not just about when I grade papers, students say to me, you know, most professors, they just check off that you did it. And you look and you're like, this comma's in the wrong place. This should be a semicolon. This should be capital letter A. This should not be here. This sentence could be reversed. This sentence can be 3 sentences. And they're like, why do you spend so much time? Like, because you're paying for me to teach you, to be an educator. Why would I not do the best that I can, which is grade your papers with everything that I have? Right? that's me doing the best that I can. Okay. It is 1:49 here. It's probably 4:49 there. Oh my goodness. Okay. We need to talk about energy vampires now. All right. So this guy, now I feel like I know Don Miguel Ruiz because he's had such a tremendous impact in my life. But this guy who wrote this book, he is literally someone who I know. I not only know him, wait, am I doing a full screen here? Hold on. Go back. What are you doing? Is this presenting? Oh, I see what it is. To get, hold on. This. Are you seeing this as the whole screen or no? The presentation?
No.
No.
Are you seeing the presentation at all?
I see the presentation, but I also see like your backdrop, the bottom of your bar.
Yeah, that's weird. It was not like that before. Let me see if, is it here or is it here? Ah, ta-da! Is that better?
Yeah, now you can see it completely.
Excellent. Okay, so now we have energy vampires, managing stress and negative thoughts in your personal and professional life. Dr. Steve Ornelas, he was instrumental. So in between the years that I was at Emerson and the year that I came here, I took a job at a school, another community college in Arizona. It shall remain nameless. And he was there, and he had an impact on me because we'd have these great conversations, and he talked a lot about energy vampires and not letting them suck the life out of you. Right. And I, sometimes would be like, that's hilarious. Like, that's like a great metaphor. But then he shared this with me and I was like, oh, now I get it. Okay. Right. So we're going to take a look inside. What we need to do to be able to become mindful of the energy vampires in our lives. Right. Beware the energy vampires in your life. They will suck you dry if you let them. Remember, as I said before, you teach people how to treat you. So part of what is important in our lives is deciding. We make the decisions about where we are going to invest our time and our energy, right? You all have decided that on Friday afternoon at almost 5 o'clock, you're going to be in a web Zoom, right, meeting for the leadership program at Hostos Community College because it's important to you. You're investing in it. There are some people who aren't here. They're investing in other things in their life. And maybe it's important for them right now to be investing in that. Maybe you're going to tell them, like, you missed the best workshop of the whole year. Probably, right? I'm making an assumption. So I will say that you need to make your decisions, right? And it's not, it can be influenced by other people, like, oh, you should really go see this movie. I think it's a good investment of your time. You would like it. And that's great. That's an investment of your time, right? But if, how many of you have seen movies or gone to the theater and seen a play where you're like, I really want that 2 hours of my life back, and I'm never going to get it back. And I sat there and I watched that whole movie, right? And it's so difficult, right? For me, it's impossible to walk out of a movie. I don't know why. I'm like, I have to see it to the end. It's like a train wreck going by. Even if it's the worst movie ever, I'm like, I have to watch it to the end. I wish I didn't feel that way, because if I could get up and walk out of the crappy movie that I'm watching, I could get part of that investment back and go and do something else that's going to be, better for me. So energy vampires, they're not just people, but they're things that we do. I'm going to say, maybe Mark Zuckerberg will watch this video at some point in the future and he's going to come and sue me. But I think Facebook can be an energy vampire. It is a time suck. Literally, after like a couple of hours, when you're like, did I just lose 3 hours of my life looking at other people's, like other people are living their life and posting it on Facebook. And I've been sitting here watching everyone else's life. That was an investment of 3 hours. We have to decide. right? Yes, it's important to catch up with people, sure. And Facebook is a great way to do that and get, like the latest news. But when you allow that to take precedence over you doing something else that's going to benefit your mind, benefit your body, benefit your soul, benefit your heart, are you spending the right amount of time with the right people or things that you want to accomplish and do in life? So energy vampires can be anyone. And, this is going to sound weird, but it can be anyone from that person who, you broke up with like 6 weeks ago and they're still texting you. That's an energy vampire. You're like, okay, we're not dating anymore. To, I hate to say this, but like your mom, your spouse, your partner can sometimes be energy vampires. You have to be able to make the decision and choice to say, we need to turn this relationship into a more positive experience, because right now you are my energy vampire, right? And it's a term that people can be like, what do you mean I'm your energy vampire? And you can explain it in a way that like, look, what you're doing is kind of taking all, sometimes my husband says it to me, you are draining me. Stop. Let's change the subject, right? Because we can invest in another topic together right now. And sometimes he'll say, I'm going to listen to you. You have 10 minutes to finish this story, because otherwise I'm losing like investment, right? Have you had experiences like this? So part of this is, what's this a picture of? Does anyone know this?
It looks like a black hole.
Exactly what it is. It is a black hole. It is a black hole into which all of your energy can just absolutely be drained. And so in
I was about to say it's negative people, but
so it can be negative people. It can be negative people, absolutely. But you want to hear something, Sandra, that's going to sound strange? It can also be super positive people.
yeah, that's true.
Because if things aren't really necessarily going all that great for you, and you have a friend who's like, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and I'm so great, and I love that, and you're like, shut up, because I need you to listen to me for a little bit, right? So, whoa, there's someone here. Did you just let that person in? Yes, okay, great, thank you. It like comes out of the side of my eyes. So can anyone share with us, anyone that they, like anyone or anything that they think in the chat, or just unmute yourself and talk, that might be an energy vampire for you? I think Jason is about to type. Yep, absolutely. Okay, being obese is something that is you have to work at that whole idea, right, of your health. And if it's taking the things away from you that you love so much, then you need to be able to make the decisions that will help you get to a place where you don't feel that that's your energy vampire. That's a really great example. And again, like going back to Jason's house, like, right, the whole idea, and Leighton, that's something that also is not like, I deal with the same thing, right? And you go to the doctor and they're like, this is your problem. You need to be careful because of this. And then I want to turn to them and be like, yeah, that's not so easy. That's all not so easy. Homework, total time suck, right? And for every person, things are different, because someone might say, Jason, how can you complain about having a new house, right? But there are not enough hours in the day. There are not enough days in the week. There are not enough months in the year to be able to get everything on your to-do list done and still go to work and still be with your kids and your family and all of these different things, right? Because we make all of these different investments. We have to decide. We have to choose, right? The people we love the most can become energy vampires. Okay. Here, because I want to make sure we have time to do this and process it, okay? Does everyone have your 3 things?
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Yes, Tiana, family can be so draining. Now, I want you to put your 3 things on whatever it is in front of you. Just put them down so you're not holding them. Okay. So I'm going to hold mine, and I'm going to turn this down a little bit more. I'm going to hold mine. And this is kind of like that funky commercial where like someone drops something and it comes in and like the person catches it, right? Yeah, I lost my thing. Okay, so let's see. Is there anyone who wants to, other than Jason, which it could be Jason, but does anyone want to do an exercise with me that they're gonna have to show their video to turn your camera on? Tiana, that's surprising. Okay.
Not my 3. I changed it. I thought it had to be writing, but since you just put up objects, I just picked up the first 3 objects in front of me. So they're Disney princesses. I have Ariel, Jasmine, and Cinderella, guys.
Love it. I love it. Excellent. So everyone can do this at the same time. I just want to make sure you have some writing utensils here. Excellent. So this is the idea. We are going to go, you're my best friend. Okay. Are you ready to be my best friend? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the fire department.
Where do we go when we want to just hang out and chat and talk? Where do we go? Where should we go? Not pret-a-manger, apparently. Not there. But where do we go?
We go to Ariel's favorite hidden place, where she goes with Sebastian.
Ariel's favorite hidden. I don't think I can hold my breath for that long though.
It's her underground world of hidden treasures. It's the room where she has all of those forks and knives and like silverware and plates and things.
Thingamajiggers. All the thingamajiggers.
Yeah.
I have 3. Look, you want thingamajiggers? I have 3. Okay, so we're gonna go to this place and you and I are gonna sit down and I'm gonna start to talk to you. Okay. And every time I talk to you, I'm going to give you this object and you're going to take it in your hand, right? So my pen becomes your Princess Jasmine, okay? So Tiana, it's so great that you're such a good friend. You always listen to me. I really appreciate you. Just things are going really difficult in my life right now. And my mom's just been hounding me to get a job and it's really hard. And this is, my first problem that I'm going to give to you. So go ahead and, yeah. Okay, great. And then also like, my girlfriend just broke up with me. And that's really hard. And it's making me like, I just kept, I take it out on my mom that's, like, I don't want to do what my mom wants me to do because I'm having so much heartache because my girlfriend broke up with me. And it is really difficult. And that's my second problem I'm going to give to you. So go ahead and take your, right. And the other thing is I know that I really have to go to the doctor and I don't want to. And my mom just keeps saying also like, go to the doctor, go to the doctor, go to the doctor. And it's such a pain that she keeps saying that. And I know, but it's a really big problem because so that's my third problem. I'm going to give that to you. Okay. Thank you so much, Tiana. You're so great. It's always great when we get together because I always feel lighter when we meet and we hang out. And then, okay, I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye. Tiana, what do you have in your hands right now?
I have.
Just hold them up so we can see them.
I have all of your issues.
You have all of my issues.
Yeah, everything that's weighing down on you, everything that's feeling heavy on Christine's heart, on Christine's mind, on Christina's mind.
Yep. And now where is it?
They're all in my hands.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, are your princesses made of glass? I just want to make sure.
No, they're plastic.
So I'm going to show you what I actually do this with. Hold on, because I'm in my office.
Okay.
When I do this with the the girls at Girls Leadership Camp, I use koosh balls. Our colors for Girls Leadership Camp are pink and green. So now, Tiana, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to hand me your princesses, right? So Tiana now, did Tiana get to tell me her problems? No, Tiana just listened, right? Tiana just listened and I walked away. And now Tiana is sitting there with all this tension. Probably her shoulders are starting to hurt because of everything I told her, right? Like she's getting a headache because of my mom. She feels bad for me, or her heart is breaking for me, right? And she hasn't had a chance, right? So, and she's holding it all right here. Show us again how you're holding it. Oh my goodness, it's right there. It's in your hands. Okay, Tiana, I want you to do the same thing with me, handing me each one of your princesses. Tell me some of your problems. We're back in the same spot where Sebastian and Ariel go. Hi, Tiana, how are you?
Hey, Christina. I don't know. I feel kind of just like blah. I just haven't been in the best of moods lately.
What's going on? You can talk to me. You know, you can always talk to me.
I don't know. Like, I would say that, like, I'm having a rough time in school right now. I don't know if I am fully happy with the school that I'm in at the moment. And I've been thinking about maybe transferring out to another school.
Have you ever thought about changing majors? Sorry, just kidding.
I mean, I have.
Back on track.
Yeah, I totally.
Inside joke.
So yeah, it's just been kind of like blah. I don't even want to talk about it just because it just makes me so frustrated. So
okay, thanks. Oh, okay. Right.
And I would say, like, I don't know, I've been feeling kind of just like sort of when it comes to like keeping myself busy. Not driving me insane. So that's been like really rough. So I feel like I don't know what to do with myself physically. And that sometimes is hard, trying to keep myself busy and come up with several different tasks. But yeah, that's like one of my other issues.
Okay, that's great. What else? Anything else weighing in your
Lastly, I'd say, man, like, to be honest, I don't know. I've been thinking about whether I should change my favorite color.
Oh, that's a huge decision.
That's a huge decision because it's a huge reflection of my personality. You know, I'm very much a purple kind of person. Purple really represents
who you are.
Who I am.
It always has. It always has. To change it would be huge. So
yeah, I don't know if there's any other color out there for me besides purple.
I hear what you're saying. Okay. I'm so sorry you're going through all this, Tiana. Like, I really want to help you. I hope that just by listening to you, that maybe, you know, getting some of that off your chest and, you know, allowing you to hear yourself talk, but also to know that I'm hearing you can help you because, you know, I think you're an amazing person. I think you will find the color that you're looking for. I think you will find the way that you are going to be able to spend your time. And I think, you know, school is such an important aspect of, you know, creating who we want to be in the future that, you know, if you ever want to talk to me again about like, you know, decisions you're making about school, I really want to be here for you. Why don't we go get ice cream? Because I think that would make you feel
yeah, that sounds great. I took a lactate pill earlier today.
Excellent. All right, what's the difference, people? What am I not doing? What am I not holding in my hands?
Oh, Tiana's problems.
I'm not holding Tiana's problems. I need to be able to let them go, right? Because I have my own problems. And if I take on Tiana's as well, and if I take on Franco's and Roxanne's and Folu's and Leighton's and Rawa's and Zina's and Yanita's and Sandra's, and I'm not going to be able to rehearse for the next 3 hours the play that I'm directing, because I'll be so weighed down with everyone else's problems. Energy vampires choose to lay all of their issues on you, and they just keep handing them to you, and they just keep handing them to you, and they just keep handing them to you, and you're like, okay, right? But you get to decide what the investment is that you make, right? I'm not telling you walk away from people who have problems. That's not it. Right? That is not how we're going to be dealing with. You need to be able to express to people by being impeccable with your word, never taking it personally, never making assumptions, and doing your best. It is about finding the balance, Yanita. That is exactly what we're going for here. And using the ideas from Don Miguel Ruiz's 4 agreements to help us deal with the energy vampires in our lives, right? Using those principles to say, now, wait a minute, I'm not going to take this personal. This isn't my issue. My heart, is breaking for my friend who's going through all of this, but I need to be able to take my friend's stuff and not make it mine, because it's not mine. Hi.
This is my sister, guys. She's been listening to you the entire time, Christina, and honestly, it's like been amazing for her. I just like let her listen in, and I was like, because a lot of what we were speaking about today kind of just resonated with some of the things that my sister's been going through. So I just kind of let her listen, and she was like, wow, she's like, who is this woman? She is fire. And I was like, I know, right? I was like, everything she's saying is so good. And so I just wanted you guys to just see and say hello and have her say hello, you guys too.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany. I'm so glad that you spent the afternoon with us, that you made the investment of your time to learn about these things as well. That's really exciting. Thank you.
It's been very nice.
Excellent. Excellent. So for me, right, like it's 2:11. This exercise is the last thing before I show you these, 2 amazing people that have changed the way I look at the world. They've changed the way I walk through the world. Jason can attest to the fact that, when I was at NYU, there became a time where I was so miserable. And I think a lot of why I was so miserable was most of the students at NYU didn't look like me. They weren't people of color. It was what I realized too is, I have my undergraduate degree is from a very expensive private university. If anyone had told me 30 years ago, there's a really good option for you, go to a community college for 2 years and then go to university, and I would own my entire brain, right now, I still owe $10,000 for the education that I got graduating 30 years ago. Right? I can't use like this portion of my brain underneath all this hair because it's still mortgaged to the bank because I haven't paid for it yet. $10,000 that I'm still paying. If anyone had told me, go to a community college. When I taught at NYU, do you know how much tuition was? And that was 12 years ago. $1,200 a credit. A credit. Taking a class for 4 credits was $4,800. One class. Do you know how much it costs to go to school at Phoenix College? $85 a credit. How much does it cost at Hostos?
For like 1 credit or for like a 3 credited class or like a 4 credited class?
No, $85 per credit. So a 3 credit class is what, like $255? I think something around there.
Wow.
I'm gonna do the math. How much is a credit at Hostos, Jason?
I think we're still a little bit more expensive than that, but it by comparison to
NYU,
Emerson, Columbia, anywhere, yeah, I think we're
no, Hostos is more affordable than NYU.
right? And here's the thing, like a lot of people are like, well, I don't know if I'm smart enough to go to NYU, so I'm just going to go to community college. Really? Who's the smarter one? The people who are spending that much money, or the people who are in community college spending this much money, right? That's
community college.
Intelligent decision, quite an intelligent decision to be making about the investment that you are choosing, because if you have saved all of the money from tuition for 2 years and then, right, maybe take out the loans for the next 2 years or invest what you've, saved by going to community college, you all have the right idea. If I had done that, I would be finished paying my student loans. $210 a credit. The difference, that's 1/5 of what it was to go. And I'm sure NYU's tuition right now is above what it was 12 years ago, 15 years ago. It's got to be. To me, there is no greater investment than education. My father, before he died, said to me and my sisters, they can take the clothes off your back, they can take anything you put in your house, they can take your car, they can take anything. They can't take what you put in your mind away from you. Education is the investment you make it. And I will say this, there are also, right, the number of PhDs teaching at community colleges now, you're not like getting a slacker education. You're getting probably some of the best scholars who've chosen that education is their passion, right? I spent 11 years in really private, really elite institutions, and I realized like, I wouldn't be able to afford to go here. What am I doing teaching here? It really would get to me, because I would have students come into my class and be like, ugh, my mother booked another cruise for us for spring break. I mean, seriously, I don't want to go. And I'd be like, I'll go with your mom on the cruise. I'll go. I have a passport. Where are we going? And I realized, like, what am I doing here? I'm this commodity that these people are purchasing for thousands of dollars. And I came here and I was like, I've never seen, and when you come to a place where people are struggling to pay the $85 and they're so proud of their degrees when they get them, right? So to come here to a Hispanic serving institution where this year we celebrate 100 years of Phoenix College's existence. 2 years ago, I came here, this is my 4th year, and 2 years ago, we did the first ever Spanish language production in the history of this theater program, which has been around for probably over 40 years. The students whose parents came to watch that production, and they walked out with tears thinking, I didn't think it was a good idea for my student, my child, to be a theater major, right? That scares me. But here, we look at how theater is a holistic art form, right? You learn public speaking skills, you learn time management, you learn organizational skills, you learn how to work in a group, you learn how to be a leader, you learn how to be a follower, you learn how to memorize lines, just even putting information in your brain. You learn how to be on time to rehearsal. You learn that other people depend on, right? There's a lot of things you learn as a theater major. Tiana's like, ooh, I can change my major again.
And I'm just saying, it's just funny because a lot of parents do fear like those typical majors, arts, theater, and dance, because it's just so hard. And
it's a difficult investment. And
like starving artists, it's really hard, to get discovered. Like, not everyone's a Vincent van Gogh, not everyone's a Pablo Picasso. It's really hard.
So here's my answer. Yep. Here's my answer to that. Last year, we got a grant for the theater program to work with the nursing faculty, so that theater students, instead of just acting on stage, would serve as the simulation patients in the hospital setting, right? In their simulation lab hospital, where instead of talking to their faculty member who's giving them all of the information, the theater students prepare the role of, you know, the mother whose child has this condition and she's asking all of the questions, and the nurses have to respond, right, to the actor who's now playing the role. And the teacher can step back and really look at the interaction. Another thing that we're doing with the theater program here is we are serving for the deaf translators program. So deaf interpreters practice by, so last week I served as a college advisor in the political science program of all things. And I got so upset because I didn't really know that much about the political, but it really didn't matter what I was saying. It
That's
just
my
mattered that
major.
they were, there you go, that they were being able to sign, right, what it was for the deaf actor who was the student interested in coming to Phoenix College. So being a theater major, I'm trying to expose people not just to being an actor, right? But they're also learning how to be playwrights. They're learning how to be designers. And there is a lot more of a spectrum of what job opportunities can be had in the world of theater, right? There are medical schools that pay actors to come in so that doctors can learn better bedside manner and how to deal with the human being, right? There are law schools that hire actors to come in, right? If you want to go to Broadway or if you want to go to Hollywood, I'm not really going to be your person, right? But if you want to use theater as a tool to engage in creating a holistic society that understands human interaction, that's what I want to create. That's my theater. Thank you. The work I'm doing is very dope.
It
I know
is.
it's an assumption, but it is dope. It's dope.
You know, as you're talking, I'm just like hearing everything, and I'm just like, this sounds amazing. And only because like, not even so like just everything with that, but also just the work that you like it said about like how you guys are incorporating like even just like the deaf program and then also making accessible to them. I think that's amazing. I actually attended a play and for the first time ever, I was fortunate enough to see the Broadway play with Andy and the Orphans and Amy and the Orphans. And that was Broadway incorporating the first time ever in our history, people with Down syndrome onto Broadway and being able to perform on stage. And they took
chills.
They took a Down syndrome woman and a Down syndrome man, and they put both of them on Broadway. And what they did was just change the name from Amy to Andy for the story of Andy and the story of Amy. But the story originally is about Amy, who is a Down syndrome girl who was abused by an institution that they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. Her parents had no idea. And then it shows you the family dynamics of how difficult it is when families are presented with a child who has more severe special needs and they need more just attention and things like that, and someone to work with them, and how some parents just aren't patient or aren't willing to go through classes or seminars. And it was just so groundbreaking, but I loved it so much. And I think more so because I am a student of accessibility myself, seeing that just how far my community of people who are of accessibility, and we say accessibility because we're not disabled, we're not limited. We do have the accessibility to do things, you know, and we just need to be given that opportunity. And when I saw that Broadway play, that to me showed like when given the opportunity, we can do amazing things.
Absolutely.
Have to be given the chance, that's all.
I have to read
amazing
about
though. So I'm so fascinated with the work that you do, Christina.
Thank you.
I love theater, so this is like, it's just amazing to like hear about this. I'm so glad, Jason, that you got her. Like, she's dope. I really like her.
You hear that, Jason? I'm dope.
I just want to say, you know, I don't want to take credit for it either. I mean, one of the things that I try to tell people here at the college is that I'm not really responsible for all the people that walk in the door. The person, there's something that sort of struck me right here, right now, because of what you're talking about. We went to a conference in New Jersey where we met Christina, and the person who introduced me to Christina was one of our greatest ambassadors, one of our greatest leaders. Her name was Liliet Lopez. And Lily had a visual impairment, and has been cited by multiple people over the course of her career as both a student and as an activist. But the only reason Christina ever walked in our door is because of Lilliet making that connection. So when you guys, you reference something and then you can't give me credit because I'm only part of the team, right? We're all
Absolutely. But you're a huge part of the team, right? Like you've made these bridges and connections, and that to me is priceless.
But I think it's important for you guys to know that when you bring something to me, that's my role, right? To sort of bridge the gap. So you say, this is something that we need to do, and then we try to implement it. So whether it's been, whatever students needs in a variety of different areas or theater or anything that people have brought to Marin-Using, I mean, everything has been brought to me by somebody else. The little things that I've made contributions on have only been to support the mission of our organization, but it's been you guys, your predecessors and all of you who bring ideas to me so that we can put them at the forefront of what it is that we're doing. Because it's a leadership program, right? You are the leaders.
You are the leaders.
I am not the leader and you are the followers. We all affectionately, Christina, I don't know if you know this, we all sort of affectionately use the term boss for each other. So we just don't all call each other boss because there are no bosses in our organization. We're all leaders. We're all taking on the role and the responsibility, and we're all functioning together as a community. And that goes back to the mission of the college, right? So that Hostos was built on the idea that we are going to serve the community as a community for the community. And so is the Leadership Academy.
I think that's so important because I really believe the best leadership is embodied in people who really understand what fellowship is. You cannot understand how to lead effectively and positively if you don't know what it is to follow a good leader. And so being both is essential to be able to feed your leadership skills. You need to be able to also be the follower. And know when it's important for someone else to take the lead and for you to step back, right? The idea of stepping up and stepping back. I'm going to be so sad in 4 minutes.
After this workshop, I'm definitely going to take, well, since this workshop, like I feel more inclined to take a theater class for next semester. I was debating it this semester. I didn't take it this semester because I had an option to choose an elective. And I decided to take Latin American like art. And it was like but indigenous artwork. So it's like learning about all the indigenous people, like different artwork from different origins. But I think next semester, I want to take another like theater class. I'm trying
to think if I know anyone on the faculty at Lehman.
Jason, you know who I did the theater classes with? Camilo Almonacid, and I also was in his club, the playwriting club. And we went like on different trips to like different theaters, and it was so dope. Honestly, I really miss that. Like I miss that a lot. That was like one of the best things. Like Hostos was really connected in that scene in terms of that.
I'm trying to look up who the faculty is to see if I know anyone who's on faculty.
Oh my God, yes. If you could recommend anyone at JJ, that's the college that I'm at. If there's any like theater teachers that you know there, I would gladly take it.
Wait, you're at which school are you on?
I'm at John Jay, College of Criminal Justice.
Okay, wait, because I know someone who used to teach there, I think. I don't know if she's there anymore. I think she has a full-time job somewhere else. John Jay College, Theater, New York. So they're the communications and theater arts faculty.
Or even if you have like an email address, I can email you too. I don't want to take up.
Yes, you can all get to me through Jason. Jason, give them my
I will.
contact information.
And I just want to say that, what Christina said at the beginning is the workshops that she first started doing when we were at Hostos were all encompassing, theatrically driven, workshops where people were up and doing things and working scene work and really getting everything and banging things out and getting to the real heart of what it was that the message was of the workshop. And we've been lucky enough that one of her students over the years took over for her when she went to Arizona, and that's Namibia, who I love as well.
She's wonderful.
She's been great coming back over the years. And that's the type of work that we used to do. It would be lovely to be able to do that again. I mean, this Zoom doesn't allow us
to really get down to what I'm like. If you guys like this, you should see me when I'm not sitting down. It's a little crazy. There's some pictures of like Hostos workshops where like, I don't remember who it was. What was the guy's name with the dark sunglasses on? It was like this, and I was like this right back at him. That's such a great photo. It's like one of my favorite.
And Bryce is a teacher now. Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
At Hostos?
No, but in the public school.
And a teacher in the K-12 system? And oh, I love it. I love it. We're friends on Facebook. Wait, look, can I ask? Can people, if you want to, I'm gonna ask you to undo your camera so I can see you, and I'm gonna take a picture of us.
Yeah, really Nira, Sandra, Leighton.
Anyone who wants to, you don't have to, right?
No
if you're on the lam and running from the, you know,
but someone
don't put your picture on.
I'm not home. I'm sorry, but I'm not home.
You're okay.
That's okay, girl. It's just a quick shot. Just be like, hey, with your mask on.
I love this. I love this. There we are. Yes. This warms my heart. Oh, we're gonna do another one.
Gonna get it. Yeah,
Come on there. There's Roxanne.
Yay! Oh yes, and Tiffany's even in there. Sandra, can you unmute your mic? We have to go on the road together.
I don't know. My camera is not. I don't know what happened.
Look at this. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Thank you all so much. I'm already sad now that I don't have you all like sitting with me and I have to go into rehearsal. And I love my actors. I'm directing a play right now that you'll all be able to see.
Okay.
I think what happened is
share with us.
Can you guys see me?
Yes. Yeah, you're gorgeous, darling. You're gorgeous. Don't worry. You're gorgeous.
Don't worry.
Now we see the roof of your car, though.
So you say we're going to be able to see a play that you're directing?
Yes. So I am directing a play called 14, and it's all about the US-Mexico border and immigrants who come into the country and different people's perspective about the immigration issues. Now, I directed this play, the world premiere of this play in 2003. And it is very depressing that 17 years later, we are still dealing with the same issues and that this country still continues to put up walls instead of opening its doors. The play will be available through Vimeo, free of charge, starting on November 12th. It will be available the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th, which is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the following weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I will get the poster to you and Jason can send it to all of you. And I hope that you're able to watch it and then tell me what you think and have the conversations, and it would be great.
Jason, see if we can make it a film series workshop so we can have movie night together.
We're working on it.
Now it won't be on a Tuesday night. Is it movie night Tuesday nights?
No, but we can try to show it.
Do a watch party. I don't know what those are, but they sound
the SLA, we're pretty flexible. We'll make it happen.
I love it. I love it.
So let me say thank you to Dr. Christina Marin, my good friend. As you know, and we've spoken a couple of times, I miss you.
I miss you too.
You are an extraordinary educator, a warm-hearted, wholehearted human being. I sat in her workshops at the conference at New Jersey, and I can tell you some of the things that she spoke about that day. Now, remember, this wasn't, 5 minutes ago. I've had 2 kids since then and all sorts of other stuff. But she's incredibly powerful. I will share her email with you guys if you want to stay in touch with her. She is a great person to have your contact sheet. I'm really hopeful that one day COVID-19 goes away and we'll be able to maybe see you again in person. I know it's a
I would
long,
love that.
but I also hope that maybe we can do some more of these before too long, so that you can continue to make contributions to our students. I know that they're touched as much as I am by your presence and your gift. So let's give Christina a virtual round of applause or however we call this.
Thank you. I miss all my Hostos peeps. Hi.
Awesome.
Excellent. All right. You all have an amazing weekend.
Yes.
I hope the
too.
rain goes away. Anytime anyone is ever in Arizona, in Phoenix, you have a place to stay. Mi casa es su casa. So come on out to the desert.
Okay, next trip, I'm coming there.
Sandra, come on out. Come on out. Well, we're going to have to go on the road.
Your girls' road trip.
You invite me, I'm coming. I'm
road trip to Arizona. It's like a 4-day road trip, just so you know, if you do it,
Well, she's farther. She's in Florida.
I'm in Florida.
Do that. Let's do that. I'll come out to you, Sandra, and we'll do a girls' road trip.
Listen.
Christina will be
like, going. I'm coming. I'm trying to go everywhere now. Especially what just happened in 2020. It's
right.
crazy.
We need to live our best lives. We need to we need to
so
make
right now, I'm living in the moment. That's it. I'm coming.
Because you have a home, right? I have a blue guest room, a green guest room, an orange guest room. You get to stay where you want.
Exactly. I'm coming. Boss, we going.
I got dibs on the orange one.
No problem. I don't mind any color. I'm fine with that.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you very much for coming.
Bye, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank
you.
Don't let those energy vampires in.
Yeah, no.
We won't.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.